All right, call to order the meeting of the East Grand Forks City Council work session for Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. The city clerk, please take roll.
Mayor Mark Olstead.
Here.
Council President Brian Larson. Council Vice President Tim Riopel.
Here.
Council members Tammy Schumacher.
Here.
Ben Puksvinsky. Dale Helms.
Here.
Donald Kazmi.
Here.
Karen Peterson.
Here.
Recognizing the quorum is present, we'll get on with number 1, request to declare a vehicle as surplus property for the purpose of selling it at auction. Chief Hedlund.
Thank you very much. As you're all well aware, this is, I think, the third time now we've brought forward vehicles in recent weeks to have sold at auction. We've kind of changed the philosophy a little bit with Corporal Rue now running that program. Rather than having the vehicles just sit around and be impound that much longer, we're trying to get them out and get rid of them as quickly as we can after they become officially ours. So that's why we're doing this reason. It'll go out for auction. This one just came through this past, well, about a week and a half ago. So,
Anyone have any questions for the chief? Seeing none, thank you.
thank you.
Number 2, acceptance of Turnout Gear Dryer Reimbursement Grant. Interim Fire Chief Paul Hansen.
Thank you, Mayor, Council Vice President, members of council. We were notified by the State Fire Marshal's office that we had been approved for our application for a Turnout Gear Dryer grant. Total grant reimbursement $6,830 with a local match of $1,707.50 with a total project cost of $8,537.50. This funding will be used to purchase and install that Turnout Gear Dryer. Budget impact, we will pay for the total upfront cost of the $8,537.50 out of our small tools and equipment with a reimbursement of $6,830 and the remaining portion, the $1,707.50, coming out of our small tools and equipment budget. So recommendation is to authorize the acceptance of the dryer grant reimbursement.
Any questions for Paul? Do we have one at all right now, or will this be the first one?
This will be the first one. We got the washer probably 5 years ago, not a little more than that, so we've been pretty successful with this one.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Number 3, approve budget and application for 2027 Transit Operating Grant. Ms. Ellis.
Thank you, Vice President and Mayor, council members. This is kind of my annual push towards how we do transit operating for the city of East Grand Forks for dial ride and fixed route. I've talked about microtransit in the past. I'll kind of just give you the generic overview of what we're looking at in our operational grant. The state of Minnesota has switched to more of a performance incentive type funding formula for us. It was less of a, here's what you got last year, increase it by 3% and then make it work kind of a scenario. They're looking at more now service efficiency, productivity. They want to see more availability, make sure that we've got transit access, and then it also looks at different types of things such as vehicle miles, vehicle hours, and then operating expenses. So what we do every year is we go through a cost allocation model. We do it for both dial-a-ride and fixed, and I presented those numbers in my request for council action. Right now, based on what our cost allocation model has with salary and incidentals, which they're allowing me to charge 25% of my salary towards the transit fees. For fixed, it's $556,000 or about $557,000. For dial-a-ride, it's about $214,000. What the state is expecting me to ask as a max, based on those performance measures and incentives, is $825,000 with an 85-15 mix. So we do get some federal amounts that are allocated to us, or apportioned to us, I should say, from the federal government, which is 75% of what our yearly apportionment is we still have, we've got a backup of some funds, and so we still have a very healthy balance in terms of federal dollars. So the total amount breakout is $219,000 of federal dollars, about $482,000 state, and 123 local. At this point in time, based on some of the comments that we received from people in East Grand Forks, we're still really looking into the microtransit. There's two ways we can do it. The first way is we have routes 4 and 6, which kind of basically travel on the north end. They kind of mirror each other. They're very similar, with a little bit more on one on the east side of 220, one on the west side. So we have two options. We either look at getting rid of Route 4, and then just doing Route 6, and then we do microtransit. So what that does is it would kind of be an on-demand service. So it would circulate through East Grand Forks, and then when it would pick you up, and then it would drop you off at your closest connection, transit connection. So it's not a trip-to-trip or door-to-door service. It would get you as quickly as you can from one place to another place onto a different route. So that's our first option. The second option we visited with Sioux Falls is what they call commingling of services. So dial-a-ride and on-demand would be commingled. So you would be riding with the dial-a-ride people. You would go through dispatch that way, which is another good way of doing it. However, it would, we would have to set a parameter of mileage, which would then affect our dial-a-ride service. So people might not necessarily go from East Grand Forks all the way to Altru. They would go from East Grand Forks within a, starting with a 6-mile radius to within that 6 miles, getting on a bus that can then get them to Altru. So the commingling is something that's new that might be helpful, but right now I think our best option is to go with the fixed route. When we do our cost allocation model, we break it out based on the cost per miles, or cost per passenger, I should say, based on mileage, hours, peak vehicles, et cetera, and then that's a percentage of the total service. All that being said, Route 4, if we were to remove Route 4, Route 4 costs us $194,000 to operate that. So if you take the $194,000 off for Route 4 and you add the $54,000 that's left over for microtransit between the two, that gets you at about $250,000, which is spot on what we guessed microtransit would cost in our study. So we think it's a viable option. If we look to do it, we wouldn't start it until probably in the spring / close to summer. You never want to start a new transit service in January, because your ridership just isn't. It's just difficult to start that way. So we'd be able to get all of our marketing ready and start that process in that May-June section. So what I'm asking is that we put in for the projects, we ask for the maximum amount in that grant. It gives us an opportunity to budget. For the federal, state, and local, it would be our max amount, so we know it would never go above that. It would probably go below that. And then we would probably move some of our dial-a-ride funds to the fixed route to maybe accommodate that microtransit. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I have lots of information if you're ever interested in going through it, or having me email it to you, but I think I tried to talk as quickly as possible. If anybody has any questions, that's a lot, so.
Any questions for Nancy? Seeing none, thank you.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Okay, 4 through 8, Mr. Stordahl is going to handle. We'll read them one at a time, and then he can get into them. Approve the appointment of Mr. Travis Rambel to the position of Public Works Wastewater Stormwater Operator. Mr. Stordahl.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, Mayor, and Council. We were authorized to start the hiring process to fill a vacancy within the Wastewater Stormwater Department. We had one internal candidate, which was Mr. Travis Rambel. Mr. Travis Rambel he's been with the department for several years, but working in the wastewater division for 7+ years. He was trained in, and that's not his primary duty, but when needed, he steps in, and he's been on call for 7 years. He has also acquired his Class D wastewater operator's license, and he's done a fantastic job within the department. So we're asking council to promote Travis to wastewater stormwater operator.
Any questions? Seeing none, on to number 5, authorize staff to advertise and initiate the civil service hiring process for the vacant equipment operator position.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So if council approves Travis and promotes him to wastewater stormwater operator, then we'll then have a vacancy as equipment operator. And so we're asking for approval to start the hiring process to fill that vacancy.
That makes sense. Anyone else? Okay, on to number 6, approve the appointment of Miss Sarah Shamba to the position of Public Works Administrative Assistant.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So Miss Sarah Shamba, she was our top candidate in the interviews. She's been working with the city as a contracted temp employee since last September, as we were looking at how to possibly restructure the department. And she's been a great asset to the department. She's learned all the day-to-day things as far as dealing with vendors, residents, on that end of it. She does work with starting the payroll stuff, coding for billing. She works with our Managers Plus program, which are one of our past mechanics came in to train Sarah on. It's a administrative asset management program that they use for inventory and a lot of different things down at the shop. She's just done an outstanding job working with other public works staff, vendors, contractors. And being that she has been here for 10 months right now, we're asking approval to hire Sarah, starting at a step 1, and then in 6 months' time, if she passes her probationary period, to move her to a step 2 at that point. And then every year annually, as long as she performs her duties as expected. Is there any questions?
Any questions? Seeing none?
I got one.
Okay, go ahead, Dale.
Do we do all the employees that way when we hire them?
No.
Is that common practice, or is it just because you feel that she's been here for 10 months, so she deserves it?
Yep. No, we typically do not do that. It used to be that way, but now every year, annually, as long as they meet expectations, the employees, they get moved up to the next step above what they're at that point. The reason that I'm asking for approval to move her up is just because she's been here almost a year already, not as a city employee, but as a contracted temp worker, and has got the experience over that time. I mean, she's gained valuable experience and know-how in that time. So,
Anything else, Dale?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Number 7, approve the award of the Reinhardt Road Southeast Repair Project to R.J. Zavril and Sons.
thank you, Mr. Vice President. Reinhardt Road, as you travel south on it from Bigland Road, is concrete all the way until you get out to the 13th and Greenway Boulevard area, where it rises up and it becomes a bituminous surface at that point. We've had the road, for lack of better terms, blow out there in different areas. We've been just patching them as they've came, because the thought process is that once the city expands and annexes more land out that way, that road will eventually be lowered. There'll be curb and gutter and storm sewer put in there. So this is one of those repairs to, it's somewhat of maybe a temporary fix. We just don't know how long it's going to be before that happens. The road is in total disrepair right now. And I spoke with the city engineering staff about a good way to do it to prevent the frost boils from coming back, hopefully. And that's what the quotes are for Reinhardt Road. And we're asking for approval to award it to R.J. Zavril and Sons for $27,360.
Any questions? Okay, seeing none, on to the final one, number 8. We'll approve the award of the Big Lincoln Road Southeast Repair Project. R.J. Zavril and Sons.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. This area of Bigland Road is overlaid. It's the area that's south on Bigland Road that goes over the coulee. We overlaid it a number of years ago. I believe it was in 2000, what do you want to say? It's 10 plus years for sure since we've overlaid it. It's held up actually really well. There's concrete under the overlaid surface. So the plan would be to go in and mill it down to the concrete and resurface it with approximately 1.5 inch overlay with bituminous overlay. The low quote on this was $53,791 from R.J. Zavril and Sons, and that's what I'm asking approval for, is to hire R.J. Zavril and Sons to complete this project.
Questions for him on that one? Dale?
How much of an overlay did you say you were gonna put on?
1.5 inches. Typically we would put down more if it were just a bituminous surface, but since there's concrete under there. And that's what we put on the last time we overlaid it as well. There'll be areas in there that will be a little thicker than that, just depending on what the surface is like underneath.
Okay, thank you. Number 9, approve updated resolution related to Mighty Ducks grant funding for VFW Arena Refrigeration Replacement Project. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you, Vice President, Mayor, and Council. This is just an update. We have to update the resolution because we did receive the Mighty Ducks grant for replacement of the R22 ice plant at the VFW Arena. However, that time we had just given them estimated numbers of the project, and so they have came back and want more of the real numbers, and we have those now since we've started the project and we know the costs. So this is just to file a resolution with the new budgeted numbers.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have anything else they want to discuss? Hearing none, do we have a motion to adjourn? Dale? Second by... Yeah. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Hearing none? Meeting adjourned.